Hello again. We're at European Astrofest in London, and we're going to try to give you a bit of a preview of the new EQ8 Pro from Skywatcher. If you've been following us on the channel, you probably saw the full start a year or so ago with the rather peculiarly named EQ7 EQ8 that we did a review of on the channel. We're reliably informed now that this product is getting very close to the market. We're expecting to see it shortly. The model we're going to be looking at here is one step away from the production model, and we're very reliably informed that everything you see above this line just here is how it's actually going to look. I want you to pretty much ignore what's going on underneath it, because the manufacturer is probably looking at supplying the mount with an optional, either with a pier or an optional tripod. So you'll specify that maybe at the time of purchase. Straight away you can see that this is a serious size mounting. It's looking like a contender, challenging some very well-known products like the AP1200, for example. One of the things to note about this mount, it weighs about 26 kilos, so this is going to be a fairly easy product to carry around, and you'll see that we've got these rather nice handholds on here. There's actually one on either side of the mount. That's really quite a nice feature if you're going to be using this to carry around. We've got an absolutely fantastic, beefy polar alignment system here with this large Tommy bar at the back. They've obviously taken on board some of the criticism of their very popular EQ6 in terms of there really not being a good mating here. You can bring the camera around and actually look at the worm that we've got in there as well. It really is a very sweet way of making the adjustment. This is a very well made cast and well milled block here that's supporting this, so this is a very tough and rigid arrangement. Look at the size of these gears. They're around about 200 mil in diameter, so every indication here is this is going to be a mount with excellent tracking and really first-rate target acquisition as well. So we're expecting this mount to be very, very accurate. Manufacturer's being a little bit cagey just at the moment because he hasn't finalized some of the software integration details, but we do know it's going to have dual axis encoders. So after you slacken off one of these really quite small, neat little locks here, you won't lose position by quickly swinging the telescope manually to a new position. That's a great feature. That's becoming a really nice, convenient thing to have on a mount to make it very easy to use. Very substantial looking motor blocks on here. Obviously another 200 mil diameter gear on the declination axis as well. The top here, let me just show you that and bring that round a bit so you can see it. We're expecting, obviously this is for ring mounting, but we're also expecting there to be a dovetail bar option, probably following on with the type of dovetail that Skywatcher used on the 300mm scopes and the Sprees and things like that. So probably a dovetail more similar in type to the Losmandy, the kind of 4-inch wide dovetail that we're used to seeing on that. Coming around the front here, interesting little detail of the rather cheekily placed on and off switch on the front of the mount there, right on the front plate, almost acting like a badge. Now, one of the first things you notice is this large L-shaped bar here. Now, this is to enable you to assist the process of polar alignment. Now, it's not a true polar scope because obviously it isn't actually mounted through the polar axis of the telescope. So what this is a polar alignment assist system. It'll be an optional extra. It probably won't actually come with the scope. And obviously, given that we've got this kind of mechanically engineered bar that's sticking out like this, there's obviously a bit of a question about to what degree the polar scope actually matches the true pointing position of the polar scope on here, the polar axis on the instrument, but obviously we can see that we've got some adjustment details on here as well. So clearly this is something that's going to be collimatable with the main mount, and there'll obviously be a procedure for doing that. But of course most of the users of this type of mount are probably going to use something like T-Point. They're going to use a modeling program, and this will certainly be completely compatible with that kind of software. Just take a look at some of the other items here. Very beefy counterbalance bar. We're talking about well over an inch in diameter there, 25 millimeters. Coming round to the electrics input here, we can see we've got the usual 12-volt input, we've got the hand control, we've got the auto guider port. There's a couple of other little bits and pieces on here that we're not 100% sure about what the manufacturer's got in mind for that. Obviously we've got the SynScan handset that we know and love. That's going to be standardized on the EQ8, but it will have a different software system on there from anything we've seen before. So we are looking probably at some fairly exciting ideas that are going to be appearing on the SynScan handset. Let me just show you a couple more of the little details we've got around the side here. We've got another one of these little very neat and tidy, really quite delicate little locks up here. They really don't require a lot of heft to get this firmly and fully locked off. This really is looking like a very professionally engineered and very well thought through piece of equipment that's going to be doing some quite serious, mounting a quite serious challenge to well-known products like the AP1200 and some of the other mounts on the market that we've regarded as being standard observatory hardware. The carrying capacity of this mount for visual use is around about 50 kilos, and the photographic and imaging payload capacity being around about 35 kilos. So clearly this is going to be a very exciting mount as an observatory quality mounting system. Price, obviously that's a big question. We've got to hold our breaths just a little bit on price. The manufacturer is playing that very close to his chest. That's a fairly closely guarded secret. All I can tell you at this stage about it is going to be exciting, and it's definitely going to make this mount a very serious contender, and it's going to, I think, cause the cost of owning this type of thing to drop dramatically from what we've been used to in the past. You've only got to think about the EQ6 Pro and what that's done for the astronomical community. I think this is probably going to be a winner in the same vein. So a very exciting mount. And that's it from European Astrofest. Bye for now.